We're joined by Pierre. He's a longtime Bitcoin advocate, vice president of research at Riot Platforms, and a Bitcoin educator, among other things. Pierre, thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
How do you retain a clear long-term purpose for your life in turbulent times and across your many roles and responsibilities?
Yeah, I've been interested in monetary economics since I was in high school, and I stumbled across the Austrian School of Economics. And to me, what was fascinating about it was this explanation of how the macro economy works, and also that uh, it was kind of a hidden knowledge. Like nobody in school was learning about Austrian business cycle theory, and I think that I have kind of an interest in logic, and so when I was reading it, it spoke truth to me. It seemed logical, and it was odd that nobody else was really zooming in on it. And so from there, I continue to be interested in it, but I didn't really have a solution to it other than stacking silver was what I was doing back then. And when I heard about Bitcoin's 21 million hard cap, that's when things clicked for me of, okay, not only does this have better technology in the sense that you can teleport this asset anywhere in the world 24/7, it also has greater scarcity than gold or silver. And that to me meant that this was going to get adoption, and it was going to solve a problem that I had felt like was really important even before Bitcoin was invented, because I was getting interested in economics in 2005, 2006. So to me, it was really a no-brainer. Furthermore, I was in high school not only interested in Austrian economics and libertarianism, I was also interested in free and open source software. So I was installing Linux on my parents' old computer. I was, listening to Richard Stallman lectures before going to bed, and that Bitcoin represents a fascinating intersection between the world of open source and the world of monetary economics that really appeals to me on such a level that it would be impossible, very hard for me to lose focus at this point.
That's great. You were a little cypherpunk without really knowing, huh?
Yeah, although I don't like that label
You
just
don't?
because
You don't?
it applied to me, right? I'm a sinner first and foremost. I use proprietary software. We're using it right now, and so I think that it would be uh, an exaggeration to call me a cypherpunk. But I aspire to their ideals. I respect it a
Yeah.
lot.
Interesting. So it sounded like your introduction was to Bitcoin aligned with what you were already doing. But can you remember or can you mention any sacrifices that you've made to make or to be able to live as purposefully as you live right now?
Yeah, I think that I remember I was taking my first economics course in high school, and at the same time, I was learning about Austrian economics. And I remember sitting on my bed one day with severe cognitive dissonance. This was the first time I was disagreeing with what I was being taught in school. And I do remember having a moment of, well, maybe it would be easier to just set aside the Austrian economics and just learn what I'm being taught in school and not disagreeing with it. And
Did you yeah, go ahead.
well, in hindsight, um, yeah, maybe my life would have had a very different path if in that moment I'd been like, all right, let me just trust what they're telling me in school and
Yeah.
not trust what I'm reading or, my own
Yeah.
instincts.
Yeah, that's probably tough. I bet a lot of people get to that conclusion, but maybe even after that they finish school, maybe not during. Did you ever act upon the realization that somebody was teaching you something you didn't agree with? Did you confront a teacher at the time, or
Oh yeah, I argued in class all the time. And
they must have loved you?
well, to the credit of my economics teacher, she was actually very accommodating. I mean,
Hmm.
she didn't agree with me, but she also didn't have the attitude that, I needed to be indoctrinated in any way. She tried to steel man her perspective, the Keynesian perspective, and
Yeah,
um, I actually have a tremendous amount of respect for her
that's
because
cool.
of that. Yeah, and then she would ask me like, "Hey Pierre, what do you think about this? You probably disagree with it." And it was like, yeah, it was a very good environment.
That's cool. That's cool. Inviting, sensible conversation is something that I feel like is it's going down the drain these days, but I think there's a few of us keeping it going. So keeping that in mind, what's a commonly held belief or assumption in your field that you think is limiting progress or innovation?
Huh, that's a great question. I think that uh, the the number one thing is that people are not intentional about how they spend their money, and that they don't realize that this kind of high velocity trash economy, the materialistic consumerism, um, that they think that it's either that or degrowth, return to primitive living, and kind of just in the forest, right? They don't realize there's a third position, which is, hey, instead of wasting your money on low quality products that you're throwing away, why not put in the work to identify high quality products that are going to last longer and that are going to save you money in the long term, and furthermore, to not just not consume um, today because you have some kind of environmental concern, but rather to not consume today so that you can consume more tomorrow, right? The famous like marshmallow experiment, right? Like let's have
Yeah.
long-term savings that are not about trying to limit growth, but rather to increase growth in the future. And that the way to do that is to reject materialism in the present. And I think that's completely foreign to uh, conversations in the mainstream.
I grew up in Norway. It's a wealthy country, and growing up in that materialistic world, we were constantly upgrading clothes and electronics. It wasn't until later that I realized this was useless. And luckily, along the way, I found Bitcoin and I figured out where I could save money across space and time. Um, do you make an effort to stay open-minded and willing to challenge your own beliefs?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that I wouldn't really. I don't know. I'd feel like I'm lying to myself if I didn't do that.
Yeah.
What I find though is that there's a lot of people who disagree with me who are unpersuasive. So, that's one thing. But when somebody disagrees with me and they have a chart with data that I can verify myself, then,
Yeah.
I'm absolutely happy to kill my ego and be like, hey, I'm completely wrong. You're absolutely right. I had a wrong belief. I'm changing it.
What advice would you give to someone trying to break out of a mundane and repetitive lifestyle?
Um, it's a good question. I think that um, the the most valuable thing is free, which is meditating, right? So you don't need to buy anything or like, pay for a session to meditate. Like try to sit by yourself for 30 minutes, not doing anything. Like that is the hardest thing, and it's completely free, and it's the most enlightening thing.
It's so funny that it is the hardest thing. It's something that I've tried to implement in my life from recommendations from so many people, like just reading books and people online. It's it's so tough that something so simple. Well, it's funny to think about that something so simple can be so tough.
It's hilarious to me.
Yeah.
People say like, oh, I got to spend money on a vacation to go relax.
Yeah.
No, you don't. Not at all. Not at all.
That's it's it's like spending a ton of money to go across the world to sit by the pool. Like it's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Can you share an experience where you where embracing uncertainty or discomfort led to personal growth?
So growing up, because of the nature of my dad's career, I did move around a lot. So originally, I was born in France, moved to Scotland, moved to Phoenix, Arizona, moved to Austin, moved back to France, moved back to Austin. So I think that, all of that has has led to lots of situations where there's discomfort and growth. And furthermore, in college, I got my bachelor and master in accounting, and then after graduating, I went and self-taught Python and SQL and software development. And um, then when I worked at Kraken, I joined the product management team, and I was like, okay, now I'm going to read product management books. And so I think that I've been self-taught in a lot of things, but that self-teaching is extremely painful, because a lot of these things where um, yeah, I'm basically just learning that I'm wrong, right? I have thought patterns that are incorrect, and that I have to uproot them and replace them with correct patterns. I think though that when I reflect on my learning experiences, the one that stands out was one summer in France. I learned how to windsurf, and that I probably spent, 3, 4 hours trying to get the sail up, trying to stand on the board and to, catch the wind and to move. And I just remember the extreme level of frustration. And that at one point I was like, screw this, not doing it. And then I tried it one more time and I got it. And it was a lot of fun. And that really stuck with me of like, just keep trying.
Yeah.
Just, bang your head against the wall,
Yeah.
and that it'll click. And so, I think that that's what has allowed me to self-teach in software development, where you've got all these bugs, nothing works, and you just have to keep banging your head against the wall until you figure it out. And so I think that that level of persistence is just critical for learning.
I think the moral of the story there is crystal clear. We're going to
Yeah.
move on to the last section here and a few fast ones. Is it ever too late to discover one's purpose?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think that one, on kind of scientific level, people talk about brain plasticity, and that it exists at every age. So, while we kind of idealize the brain plasticity of youth, um, it does continue throughout your life. And so then the other part of it too is that it's only as plastic or as malleable as you believe it to be. And so I find the studies really interesting where they say, yeah, anybody can grow as long as they believe that they can. If you don't think
Yeah.
that everybody can grow, then yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
And so um, it's kind of a feedback loop, a reflexive belief there that you have to break out of in order to make it happen. Um, and then second of all is that I really do, I believe in God, and I think that um, God can absolutely intervene in anybody's life at any time. He creates every moment in every moment, and so there's no there's no limit there. God can do anything. Anything's possible with God. So that's the other part of it on the science side.
I love that. Do you believe a human's life has a predetermined purpose?
Uh, I mean that's a really tricky theological question that a lot of people have spilled a lot of ink over. Um, I think the short answer is yes.
What's the best thing you've bought with Bitcoin?
Um, Best thing I've bought with Bitcoin. That's well, I'm thinking with recency bias. Bought a ticket to the Rabbit Hole recap in Nashville that it'll be hosted by Marty Bent and Pub Keys. So looking forward to that.
That's next week, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Will we live through Bitcoin becoming a world reserve currency?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, God willing, we live longer than 20 years. That yeah, it's happening.
Does it matter to you who Satoshi Nakamoto is?
No, not at all. I
Same.
don't want to know.
Me neither. So now we'll go a few this or that questions. Do what one enjoys or do what makes the most money?
Well, one enjoys. You got to embrace poverty if that's your path, you know.
Yes. Demanding things from life or fulfill what life expects from us?
I think fulfilling what life expects from us. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Being wealthy and humble or being famous and influential?
Um, yeah, I think wealthy and humble would certainly yeah, that's better.
Ocean mining or centralized mining?
Ocean mining is centralized mining.
Oh, really? You really think that? Maybe we should have
Uh,
another conversation with that.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think solo mining, I'll give the third answer.
I'll jot it down there. Love or indifference?
I'm sorry?
Love or indifference?
Oh, love, certainly, yeah.
Peace or war?
Peace.
Your time is greatly appreciated, Pierre. Thank you very much for joining us here
Hey,
today.
great. Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
You too.